A few years ago, I realized I sucked at my favorite hobby. The first time I used a sewing machine was 2 weeks after the first time I picked up a needle and thread. My mom bought it for me in an attempt, I believe, to inspire a hobby out of me other than talking. So in August of 2020, I began relentlessly attempting to get somewhere, anywhere with that machine. I started off with an easy enough project, a skirt. I watched exactly one YouTube video, spent $20 on a sewing pattern, and printed 124 pages of A4 paper out to tape together and trace my pieces with. The fabric I got was arguably worse than the paper, and my ability to piece pieces together was lackluster at best. The very first time I zipped, or more hacked it up, a massive tear appeared right in the middle. I thought that would be the perfect time to make a ball gown. 3 field dresses made from bed sheets and broken dreams later, and I found myself traveling 20 minutes on the train to a French sewing instructor on a weekly basis. But my hopes were not raised there. Sure, I was coming home with new dresses and some new ways to say, "Could you do this for me?" in French, but the technical side of sewing was still a mystery to me. Before class each time, I would sketch out a drawing of my ideal garment and bring it with me. I would watch my instructor, Christine, pick up my sketches, give them one solid up and down, and begin to measure. She began the process of pattern making, a thing straight out of my worst nightmares. I've always been horrible at math, and math is a must when numbers are involved. Her pencil was going to paper right before my eyes, but the only part I could understand was the part where I traced over the top of her lines. Luckily, I did learn some things from her. I practiced a new technical, non-math related skill on the machine each class and became proficient in the art of zippers, buttons, and elastic waistbands. But regardless, when I went home each evening and began trying to piece together my own pattern pieces, I would give up swiftly, leaving piles of paper scattered about. It took a good 2 years to realize a way around my agony. I should mention one of my great passions is fashion history, a thing I geek out about to an uncomfortable degree around anyone that dares utter the name Marie Antoinette. It has been a dream of mine for many years to wear a gown just like one of hers and feel like a queen in my clothes. As a result, one of my favorite shows is Outlander, a romance set across 200 years and featuring some of the greatest 1700s and 1940s costumes in television history. In season 2, the main female protagonist, Claire, wears her greatest dress yet on a trip to the Palace of Versailles in the mid-1700s. Her red silk dress is the perfect mix of 1740s and 1940s fashion, and considering, spoiler alert, that she's a time traveler, fits her exactly. It cascades like a waterfall with elegant and tightly spaced pleats, and her bodice is provocative and sleek. I fell in love the day I saw it, and I knew I'd have to have it. Of course, I did the only thing I could think to do, order it off Amazon. And of course, when it arrived, it was nothing like the beautiful dress I knew and loved. The cascades were interrupted by large wrinkles, and the pleats were miles apart. The bodice was torn at the seams and looked like it was on its last straw. The moment I put it on, however, I realized I didn't want to stick it back in the package. I wanted to fix it. By starting with a base, I cut out all the terrible pencil-to-paper work and began what I could do. Hour by hour and stitch by stitch, I recreated her gown myself. The hem was first, shortened from its floor-dragging length to an appealing cut at the ankle. Then came the ribbons on the sleeves, and after that, the seams. All in all, I spent about 8 hours in the process of sewing. And in the end, when I laced up the dress for the last fitting, I fulfilled all the dreams I had from the first time I picked up a sewing needle. Spinning in circles, I could watch my work ribbon and shimmer just like her dress did. I felt myself take on her confident, defiant attitude and her deep respect for the intricate details. I became her, I became Marie Antoinette, plus the head, and I, maybe for the first time, became myself.